Hi, this is Katie Ethington with Business 483. I would just like to quickly go over the case here for Jim Sharpe. Just a quick summary. Jim Sharpe was someone who worked basically as a fixer for many companies, just kind of fixing up production problems, fixing up factories. And then he did find that after about 10 years of that, he wanted to buy his own company, be his own boss. And so he started looking for a business. He ended up choosing an aluminum extrusion business. And after quite a bit of negotiating, quite a few, missteps, he was eventually able to purchase this company. And with that, it basically kind of leaves him at the point of he now owns this company. He financed it through the previous owner, and he just kind of figure out, okay, what do I need to do here? So the first thing is just assessing this venture. I believe there was quite a bit of criteria that Mr. Sharpe had concerning what he was looking for. And while there were a lot of companies, I do believe that this one, while maybe not one that he has a lot of experience in, is definitely one that matches that criteria, simply because it is something where he's the only owner. It's something that is kind of a little bit of a company that has some managerial problems, it seems like. So it could be something that it's right in his wheelhouse and something that he can definitely fix and make money from. So from his perspective, I do see this would be something he'd be very excited about. Now, when it comes to how Jim Sharpe purchased this venture, he purchased it by making basically making a deal with the previous owner for payments, which also involved quite a few other stipulations like keeping the health plan for the next 5 years. And with this one, it's kind of a two-edged sword here, because on the one hand, he's the only owner, which is exactly what he wanted. So he didn't have to go to a venture capitalist and say, oh, will you please borrow money? Let me borrow money. But then, of course, they'd always want to come in, take a portion of the company, choose how it's being run. So he avoided that. However, it does mean that since he's doing those payments and that money's coming from the company, he does have to be sure that his company's on track, that it's making money, and that he really can't have a lot of slip-ups when it comes to his financing and paying back his debt. The next question is, what should Jim Sharpe do on his first day as owner of Extrusion Technology? I believe the first thing he needs to do is to rally the troops. He needs to go in, introduce himself, maybe do a little Q&A session, kind of ask them questions, see what, kind of see how the employees are feeling, what they're thinking about now that the company is under new ownership and new management, see if they have any ideas as for what they want to do that could improve the company, and also, of course, taking their questions and seeing what he can do to ease their anxiety. I don't believe that he should make any changes his first day. I think he kind of needs to go in, get a little bit more used to the factory, get used to the people, kind of see who and what he's working with. Then when it comes to his action plan for the next 6 months and the next 12 months, the first thing I would say he needs to do is he needs to learn the industry. Doesn't have any experience there, so he needs to kind of get a better idea of how everything's going to work. I also think he needs to have a better ideas for what employees he's going to want to keep, because when you're changing ownership and it's a completely different culture, changing cultures can be quite difficult. So he does need to focus on revamping the culture and maybe having to let a few people go who don't match the culture he's trying to bring. He also does need to maybe start making smaller changes. I don't think he needs to do anything major in his first year. I just think he needs to start making small changes to make them more effective, to improve their reputation, and things like that. The last question here is, did Jim make the right acquisition for this one? I believe that if everything in the case is true, then yes, he did. Because it sounds like there were quite a few managerial problems with the company, which is right up Jim's alley, things that he can do. He has the experience, and if that's the case, that's great. My only concern would be there's a lot of red flags and we don't know all the meanings of everything. So if it ends up being anything that he can't fix, maybe some problems with the industry itself where they're just not fitting in, that could be a problem. That could mean that he could lose a lot of money, and definitely a hard spot for him there. But I believe that, if everything in the case sounds the way it does and ends up being kind of that way, then he'll be good and I think he'll be able to be successful. And that's my analysis of this case. Definitely an interesting one, and thank you for listening.